Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing good. So today I'm back again with another repotting video of a new plant that I bought. So this is an Anthurium plant and it's in pink color. So this is a baby pink and pinkish color to it. So this is a very common plant that you see in your nurseries nearby. I bought it for around 400 rupees this time. So I've tried this plant earlier on, I'll be very honest, but I've not managed to keep it alive for a very long time. So this time I decided to try again one more time with you guys. You'll follow along. So I've researched a little bit more this time. I didn't really try to look up for this plant earlier. I just bought it and I just repotted it in cocoa pit. As you can see, it is still in. When you buy this plant in your nursery, at least I've experienced so far, I've always seen it in planted in cocoa peat, and that was what was suggested by the nursery people. So this time I tried to research for it a little bit. I've seen a few videos of other gardeners on YouTube, and I've read about a little bit about this plant. So see, these plants, they grow aerial roots. So those pink stems that you see, those are aerial roots. So these are epiphytic in nature. So when you see them in nature, so they are not very planted in a very dense soil. So they are usually planted in a very loose, airy and well draining potting mix. So we'll try to mimic that. And so I really wanted to change the pot color also. I really don't like these black pots very much. So these are the like last option that I plant my plants in. So usually I like terracotta pots, but I was not having any at hand and I could not find a correct size from the nursery as well. So I'll be using this plastic container, either one of those that I've shown you recently. So let's get this the plant out of the soil and see what the actual soil mix is like. Because so far I've never been able to, keep it alive for a very long time. So I'll be shifting this soil mix. I'll taking it out of this pot. So this was actually really stuck. So I was wondering if it's actually root bound in the pot, because I was not expecting it to be root bound. Let's try and get this out of the pot. And yeah, we've managed. So as I was very sure about it, that it was not actually root bound, it was just planted very snugly. It was very tightly packed in that pot. So the nursery people, they must have uppotted the plant, and this was the actual size of the root ball. They must have got it in this pot size, and they just uppotted it, and just to increase the price of the plant, I feel. So yeah. So when I see the soil which is in the root ball, that is quite different from the soil which is around the root ball. See, this was the soil which was around the root ball, which has a lot of garden soil and mixed in it. So it's a very clumpy soil, whereas the soil which is in the root ball, you know, that was actually very soft and airy. And it even has, a little bit of perlite in it. I'll show you once I decided to remove that, the soil which was around the root ball. So see, this is a very good quality peat moss, I think, so which has a little bit of perlite in it as well. So as we'll be making our own soil mix for this plant, because I want to try and keep it alive for as long as I can. So I'll be reusing this peat moss mix, and I'll add other amendments to it. So let's get it off the roots first and see how the root structure is actually like, so that we can decide on the pot size that this will be repotted in. I'm just removing the twigs which were in there, and that clay garden soil that came along with the roots. So I'm just removing it from that peat moss mix. So talking about the care for this plant, so they don't like direct sunlight, as I've read. So they like bright and direct light. And I've read that they do prefer being like a little bit of humidity. So I don't have I don't have a humidifier or anything of that sort. So I'll be placing it near more plants, so which creates a little bit of humidity, and I'll be misting it. Like, I'll try to mist it at least once, or maybe once a couple of days, as I've read. So that really gives it a good environment to flourish, and I'll try to do that. Another point for this plant, that it is actually not pet friendly. So if you have pets that that tend to nibble on leaves of your plants, So this is not a plant I'll suggest to keep, because they're toxic in nature. They're toxic if they're ingested. And talking about pests, so they do tend to get a few pests. I've not managed to keep it alive for that time, so that I don't have very much experience with pests for it. So will be the first time if it gets any pests, so I really don't know what to suggest on that. So here I've already prepared the soil mix, which has a lot of orchid bark, a lot of pumice, a lot of perlite, and vermicompost. We've already added that peat moss which came in that root ball. So yeah, and I'm adding, so this pot has a lot of drainage holes, as you can see. So I don't want the soil to get out of those drainage holes, so I'm adding a little bit of leca balls at the base, just to create a divider and a barrier for the soil to stay put and not get out of the spot. I'm forming a little bit of layer of the leca balls at the base. And now I'm adding a little bit of the soil mix at the base. Then we'll center the plant in the pot. I think I've added enough, so let's add more from the top of the roots. So this is a very chunky soil mix. I don't want to compress the soil a lot in this case, as the plant likes airy loose soil. So I'm just tapping the pot from the sides. I know it looks very vigorous, but the soil was not getting down, so I had to be a little bit, more shaky. So yeah. You can tap your pot itself, or you can tap the sides of the pot to just get the soil and settle the soil down a little bit. It was not shifting very much, so yeah, I think this is settled down enough. I'm trying to keep the aerial roots away from the soil mix. I really want them to grow on their own and get down to the soil mix. I don't want to bury them in the soil mix. So I think we're done with the repotting. This was a very easy repotting if you have the soil mix already prepared. That is the, I think, the time consuming bit for the repotting process, and the removing of the old soil mix, that is also one of the tedious process. So otherwise it's a very easy going project. So I think we're done with the soil repotting, and that is it for today's video, guys. And here is the final look on the plant. If you like it, please do press the like button and subscribe to my channel, guys. Bye bye.